Hi Stampin' friends, tonight we're going to use the Framed Violets bundle and the Violet Dreams Designer Series paper. You can see here this has two different stamped images of the violet, and then this you can stamp on what it cuts out to put your violets on, the die cut, and then you can put your violets on as die cuts with that one. And then it has, I appreciate you, sending love, take care, and happy birthday to you. And then it also has this if you want to stamp it on the die cut. So this is the die cut, the scalloped die cut, and you can stamp it. This isn't true to size, of course. You can stamp that on this as well. I did want to talk about the oval that goes inside the die cut. It is not a smooth oval. It is kind of a, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, I think you can. Kind of a jagged oval. It is not 100% straight and smooth. Like when I first looked, I was like, oh, that's not right. But it actually is just a little bit of texture on the edge just to kind of give it some variety, I think. In addition to doing the framed violets and the Violet Dreams, we're also tonight going to be using gatefolds. So a variety of different gatefolds, the faux gatefold, the regular gatefold, an offset gatefold, and then we're going to do it with a belly band one of the times as well. So I did want to talk about these gorgeous, we have two of these pages, so you can use this paper and really make some cute things because you have, other shapes and then some 4 different colorways with these violets that you can use. Now, it is my sorority's, one of the symbols, it's kind of our flower. And it will be a lot of fun to use these to make scrapbook pages for my daughters for their college time. I may even go back and put some in mine. Even if you just have a purple dress or purple outfits to coordinate around, that would also be great scrapbooking for that. So I'm gonna try to keep my time under control, but I do have a lot of things that I was hoping to show you tonight. So you can see I have out all of my matching blends. And I also have out several different colors, several different possibilities, and different things to put with these. I wanted to talk about the hydrangea hue because I do think it is gorgeous with some of these papers, and you wouldn't think it would be. For example, this one, it just has, you can't even see any blue in it, and it's gorgeous. So what I kind of wanted to talk about here first is the layout of the card. So it is the typical 8.5 long by 5.5 high. And it is scored at both ends at 2 1/8. So what that does is make a perfect line in the middle. Now, if you wanted to do it as a faux gatefold, it's the same shape and everything, of course, but you score at 2 1/8 and 4 1/4. And then it's going to make the same space, make you use the same space as the true gatefold, but this is faux. And then you're going to put a piece of white paper in here to make it where you have a place to sign. Then I wanted to show this one as well, just to show you if you did it this way, and you put your paper on. This stripe is a gorgeous backside of this paper. So what I could see you doing here is just kind of making some choices. Hold on just a second. Which one you want to put at the top, which one you want to put at the bottom. And you could put the stripe at the bottom just for some variety. Sorry, I almost got out of the scene there. And then put this on this direction and have your card open this way instead. And then I have just a belly band here that we'll put together on one or the other of these. And that has the directional, you'll want to, if you should put your belly band on this way, you'll want it going this direction so that your violets are growing up. And if you put your belly band on the other way, like this card, that direction, you would want to use the violets going the other direction because you always want to have your tops going up. So there you can kind of see how that would be. Then where did I set the offset one? That's kind of funny. I had some cuts made on it. Let's see what I did. Interesting. Maybe I set it over here and left it. Let's look. I think I did. So maybe we won't worry about the offset one. My point with that was just all I did was score it. Instead of scoring it right at the half, I scored it at 1 1/8 and then scored it again an inch from the other side. And so it just offset it to the other side. That is super strange. I don't know what happened to that one. I'm sure you'll see it on my blog when I'm finished. That'll just save us a little bit of time here with what we're doing. All right. So let's start on some of the die cuts and stamping here. So these are the die cuts. I have the stamps here. I do have Memento with me, but you could, this one you can see, these are line stamps, so it's gonna be really easy to fill those in with our blends or whatever you want to use to color. And you could also, of course, use the our new glitter brushes, could be pretty. Usually I would just use that for finishing up the design, just to kind of keep it, make it shiny when you're finished. So okay, there I'm stamping on that one. Oh, kind of got off a little bit. And let's go ahead and do this other one. Let's kind of play with that a little. All right, so that turned out really nicely for me. And what I'm gonna do is just do a little bit of coloring. I'm gonna use my light fresh freesia to just give it some color kind of all over. I'll leave a space for some white in the middle, because typically it's either yellow or white in the middle, the very middle. So you can see I'm just adding, I can turn it up though, there's no reason not to have it where you can see it. And then just putting a little bit around the edges. I'm gonna go in with my light hydrangea hue. Oh, that's the dark. That is not it. Well, shoot. Apparently I'm gonna go in with my dark hydrangea hue. Let me see this one right here. What is this? Oh, no, that's not it. Okay. Luckily, I do have my color lifter. So I can always remember, you know, if you don't have, if it's too dark, if it's darker than you want, you can always go in with the color lifter, as long as you don't do it too much, and pull out some of the color. So here you can see on this one, I'm putting in, when you put in a little bit of the blue, that will help it blend nicely with the hydrangea hue paper. So then I'm just gonna go back in and just a little bit of lightening, kind of around like that. You can see it came off on my color lifter, but it won't hurt the color lifter at all. Go in here like this on my petals. Oh, I read something today about getting chores done, that it is often helpful to mirror. So you are welcome anytime to mirror what I'm doing. If you need to make some birthday cards or some other cards, that's supposed to be pretty helpful if you are doing something at the same time as someone else, and you can watch a video. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, that does make sense, that does kind of add a little extra fun to what you're doing, like listening to music or something like that, that can make your task go more quickly just by doing the same thing. It's like, oh, now I feel like, oh, I need to have some fun things to say, a little more, you know, more than just information to say now. I feel like, oh, I gotta have a plan. And then if I'm gonna be going back and forth like that, you definitely do not want to do that with the pointed end, because you will ruin your blend, in my opinion, if you have a heavy hand like I do. And like many of my customers do, you will want to only use the end that looks like a Sharpie when you're doing your heavy coloring like that. You can use, like you just saw me, you can use the Sharpie to go over these if you need to, you know, just as, because I pretty much almost exclusively use this. But so the other end, you can keep it nice for when you need to make those fine little lines there. Okay, so with this one, what I was thinking was it would look really pretty. This is the new Barely Blush Pink. Or, of course, it's gonna look fine, again, on the actual Fresh Freesia, but you may prefer it on the white. So I just feel like there are so many choices with this one that you would put with this that just makes it so pretty. So I'm gonna go ahead, use this one right here. And I don't know if I will stick with what I chose for the colors or not, but let's just kind of plan on using this one. I might want to use these again. So one thing I do also when I cut these, it's not a full 4-inch wide, of course. These are only 1 7/8 inch wide, but I make sure that I leave my trash piece on the edge because I want these to look like they're almost fussy cut so that they blend together across the gatefold. I like to do that. Okay, so there we have that. You could pop this on there like that. And then just add your small happy birthday, not necessarily the one from this set, but across the bottom, and that would be super pretty. So that is that option. Let me also talk about the gorgeous ribbon that goes with this and these pretty little guys that you can put in the center here. These little violet blossoms they're shiny and pretty. And then they also have a tiny bling inside the center of the flower. So those could be pretty if you put them inside of each one. Like let's say your coloring didn't turn out like you wanted. That would be the perfect time to put one of these little tiny guys right in the middle of those two. But you could also put them at random points around, like over here, just to add some designs out to the edge. I just think that's so cute. They're just so pretty. And then we also have this gorgeous Fresh Freesia ribbon that I think it's so easy to tie, it's so easy to use, and I think it is, oops, well, I say it's so easy to tie, and then I do that. I usually don't do that, but I think that's because I have a short thumbnail there. There we go. Just get a nice, cute little ribbon just right across the bottom. So sweet. All right, I'm gonna set that aside. Showing using it with the hydrangea hue. And then let's talk about maybe a white piece, and let's stamp, hopefully this one will work out all right this time, our black here. And I'm gonna stamp it up at the top like that. Nice. And then you can put your sentiment, which is the happy birthday to you. It's kind of square. Put it at the bottom. I'm just gonna get that as straight as I can. I'm not sure how that's gonna go. Just kind of eyeballing it. Okay. Then I'm going to use this texture that they gave us, and I'm going to use a couple of different colors. Now the darker color is going to be your Gorgeous Grape. Then to me, there is also Highland Heather, even though they don't mention it, and the Fresh Freesia in the papers. So of course you could use other colors with this. I think hydrangea hue and balmy blue would look gorgeous as well, but just to kind of put some color in this, I'm going to start with the Fresh Freesia. Just kind of stamp that spot there, and maybe a corner up here. Just kind of get a little more on there, and this kind of seems to go around this flower here. It would be very pretty, I think, also to put this in all purple and make your card all purple, and then just stamp it in purple and just do a monochrome. I think that could be really sweet. But let's go ahead and do our violet with our light Fresh Freesia. I'm going to use the other end, follow my own rule there. And this just almost looks pink, but it does, if you actually compare it to a pink, it really doesn't. but as you're looking at it on my phone, it probably looks like a pink. And I usually don't do this, but I am just going to set that aside for a second and put my dark fresh freesia on a little bit, because I'm going to use my light fresh freesia to blend it together here. And I'm going to grab this dark Highland Heather and just kind of put that, kind of smear that on a little bit. And then I might consider going in with this blue. I don't know. Yes, that's what I was hoping for. This will make it actually purple. So you want to be careful and not get too much around the edges. But this is so shiny and so pretty when you put this glitter on here. And I think it just looks really nice. And for me, I don't know if it works as well for everyone, but it'll just go right over the blends or watercoloring, whatever you've used. Doesn't give me any trouble. So then I'm going to grab my light Peaceful Pine and just finish my coloring. So I guess I should have said it a little differently. I said I was doing this particular suite, and then I was doing the paper and then gatefolds, but I'm also doing coloring because this is more coloring than I usually do in an evening with you all. I hope it's not too tedious. You could add a little bit of yellow in the center. Maybe you'd like that. Just, you know, whatever appeals. And then I am going to take this green and go right over, this is our Peaceful Pine, right over this little stem and leaf. And get that done. There we go. And then I think that makes a cute, different possibility with this. And then you could put it with either matte that you want on it. And for me, I like this particular pattern, this green, with the faux gatefold. Now you can do this a couple of different ways. You can do it just like we do with a regular gatefold and put it on both sides. You can also leave this side completely blank and put it on like this and have a little more contrast. So, you know, like leave this white or leave it blue, purple, or whatever you feel like. Use my glue. And I'm gonna put, because this has the majority of the violet on it, I'm gonna put this side up. And then I'm gonna put my little guy here because it will cover up what's not a violet. You don't have to do it that way, of course, but that's just kind of what I'm thinking. Well, if I can get the ink out just a little bit better. There we are. And then this one I'm going to put on this side and put the stripe up. If you get too much in a corner, sometimes it will come off. So you may want to make sure that you don't have too much in any of the corners, but you have it kind of smeared out so it doesn't make a mess. All right, so I'm going to put this at the top. And then I'm going to put this one at the bottom. I like to not get it too close to the edge so that I can scoot it just a little bit as needed. And then you'll notice you can put this either way. You could put it this way, and then it's going to look kind of like the other cards, but you could also put it this way. And I think that's how I'm going to put mine on. And you may even want to use a different color, like you may want to use the white here, because it'll have contrast against the edges. So that's going to be a little bit up to you, whatever you decide you like. So let's put just on one side. So I'm going to make sure that I don't go all the way to the half. So I'm going to put it there. and I want it to stay stuck to the top. Just my opinion. It doesn't mean it's correct or anything. That's what I think looks nice. And then I put the one that has only one scallop at the top, but you can also do that either way as well. So now I'm going to consider here if I would like to have a blue background or a pink background, or over here I have a white background. So I put the white there. Now I am ready to put these little guys on here. You can see there is a stem, and there are a ton of different leaves. There's 3 different leaves. So there's big leaves, small leaves, and then a kind of a medium leaf there. And I did them in the Peaceful Pine and in Garden Green, so you can see a little variety of green. And then I also used the soft sea foam in case you want to put, you know, a lot of color variety. And I did this as well. I think this will look kind of nice on some of the softer ones. And then I also I die cut our violets in both the Highland Heather and the Fresh Freesia. Now, what I wanted to do with this one is put a little bit of hydrangea hue on it. So my thinking was that I could get, this is not a blue, get a little bit of the ink, I set it here, and just go right in the center like that. I'm gonna do a couple and then maybe use my favorites. Just go right in the center, and maybe you should use a Q-tip to get it just a little smaller. But there you can see, what I like about this is you can see these have a center in them. So when you use it on white, or you could use it on yellow, it leaves a little center. So I'm just gonna kind of put a little bit of blue on this Highland Heather one. Bonk, bonk. And on this Highland Heather one, I guess we always need a odd number. So let's go ahead and put some on this one. There we go. That just kind of gives it a little texture and a little more depth. So let's use our glue and put our stem on. Top, dot, dot, dot. I don't want to get too much. I'm afraid I already have. Try to take some off there. Okay. Let's put it right there. And I kind of think this is one of those things where the more you put, the better it looks as far as the leaves go. So let's put down a base of the Peaceful Pine and then come back in. Put one on that side. I'm going to put one on this side. I'm going to put one of these that I did in the Garden Green over here. Let's see, there's a Garden Green there. Put that back here. And I like how close the Garden Green is to the Peaceful Pine in color. Gosh, I don't know if you can even see that. There we go. Now you can kind of see. Because I like how it gives it a little more texture and stuff. It just makes it really cute. Okay, so now let's put our little guys on here. You do kind of have to remember where your stems were so that you can put those there. I want to get the center out of that just because I want the white to show. Well, if I can put it where the white will show. There we are. Okay. And then this one here. And I kind of need either some more leaves or more flowers, probably both. Tuck a leaf under there. And I'll put a little more hydrangea on there, a little more color. And maybe put this guy right over here. So there you can see it just kind of adds a little more to it. Put a nice sentiment down here and add some ribbon. Let's go ahead and cut a piece of ribbon. And I'm so sad that I Oh, there it is. My offset one. Great. Glad I didn't completely mess that up. And my offset one and my other one here. All right. Okay. You might put that here. You could put your sentiment over here. Just super cute and a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and talk about our offset one. This one, instead of being scored at 2 1/8, is scored at 1 1/8. And then on this end, I scored it at 3 1/8. So if that makes sense to you, like it does to me, you can see that you have an offset gatefold. So you can use a larger piece of paper here, which is about 2, let's look here, 2 3/4 right there. And then you'll use a small piece, which is just 3/4 here for this piece. Then to me, I like putting more black things on this. And so I would probably stamp the black, maybe stamp the black on this banner. So even if you decide you don't really want to use the ovals all the time, the banners would make a super cute one. And then you could also use from another thing that is in the online exclusive is the Halloween stuff. So you could put some black dots here and there to just kind of pull this together. And I think that could be really cute. You could put the lighter, I think with the black, I was imagining this lighter color because the leaves look lighter. I don't know if they look lighter against the black or if they actually are lighter. Then you can use these same dark colors, but then kind of put the light leaves on the top, if that makes sense. I'll put these on there real quick. I'm not going to make you watch me put all these on there, but I think it kind of makes sense there. And then you can put your little violet girls on here like this. And they blend really nicely. You can still go ahead and put some of these other ones. It just makes it so sweet. I think they're so realistic to me, the way that they've been designed. This is the one I was thinking might look nice with a belly band on it. So let's go ahead and do that, and I'll show you quickly. I know most of you probably know how to do a belly band, but just in case, I don't want to assume anything. Whoops, that stuck down a little too well there. Scooch, scooch, scooch. There it went, too far again. Okay, there. And then I'm going to put this one here. Oops, looks like I didn't quite get that one big enough. But then, since we're going to go this way, we want our violets going up. So we would put our paper on this. The black would also look great. You could put that on as the belly band. That's probably what I'll do on the next one that I make like this. Put it on there like that. You'll notice this paper kind of matches the color of the base, so I thought that was kind of nice. And then all you have to do with this is wrap it around. So I like to have it where you could put it where the belly band is in the center, and put your design in the center. And then all you're going to need to do is adhere this. You're going to cut the belly band. Let me go ahead and do that so that makes sense. Like that. You're going to glue this together. Then you're just going to put like some dimensionals on there and stick this down, and you are all set with this, ready to finish up your card and put this on there. So I think there are so many nice possibilities with this framed violets bundle, suite, all that, that I think that you can make some really quick cards just by cutting out several batches of the die cuts, or doing a little stamping and then coloring as you're watching TV or whatever. I appreciate you all watching, and I hope that you have a great weekend. Bye-bye.